Welcome. My name is Natasha Sherman, and I am your host. And my guest today is Dr. Joy Ohayia. And Joy is the host of the award-winning show here at Princeton TV, The Dr. Joy Show, your prescription for total wellness. So Dr. Joy has this fabulous way of starting her show. It's her trademark, her signature, and I'm going to ask her to do it for us today.
Thank you, Natasha, for having me as a guest. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Natasha Show, and I am her guest, Dr. Joy. But before we get started, you know what we always do on the Dr. Joy Show, and we're going to do it on the Natasha Show today, is we're going to take it down with 3 deep breaths. Are you ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Are you calm and relaxed? I know I am. Thanks for having me, Natasha.
Thank you for being here. And I love that opening. It is so you. And now I'm going to continue to read your bio because your bio, I mean, I could spend a long time. I had to cut it down.
Okay.
So, Dr. Joy is also the host for the new radio show, The Joy of Living, broadcasting on the dial of 9:20 a.m. Dr. Joy is also a motivational speaker and author. One of her books is Are We Functioning Under Conflicting Knowledge Every Day? She's also the author of Don't Let It Get You, an empowering health and fitness guide for women. She holds a PhD in natural health and holistic nutrition and healing from the University of Natural Health. She was also one of the award winners in 2017 as one of the Disruptors of the Year, presented by Whole Life Activation based in the UK. She holds the title of Mrs. Central New Jersey, America 2017, and second runner-up, Mrs. New Jersey, America 2017. So, welcome.
Thank you.
That's huge. That's so impressive.
Thank you.
And as I said, there was a lot more. So, clearly you have a lot of expertise in a lot of areas.
Yes.
You were in the corporate world for some
yes.
time. So tell me a little bit about that and then kind of how you segued out of that.
You want me to wiggle my way out of it?
Yes.
Okay, so I was in corporate America. So I have a master's degree in statistics. I have a bachelor's degree in applied math and statistics. So I did that when I was pretty young, you know, college age, right?
Yeah.
So what was I told? Go to school again, and then get a job. So I was in corporate America about 20 years, and I was at AT&T. I was at Corning Glassworks, then AT&T, and then finally I finished up with a financial services job. I was a financial services executive with Merrill Lynch. And I will tell you, towards the beginning of that piece was great. I was there 5.5 years, but then, you know, changes occurred. And I started to feel undervalued, I would say, and I didn't like it anymore. But you have to be careful what you think, not just what you speak, but what you think, okay, because the universe is working. So in June of 2005, I was let go.
The universe picked up your message.
Oh yes, the universe picked it up, and I was so excited. And that's what I write about in Don't Let It Get You. Where most people were a little disappointed, you know, they would be upset if they got laid off. I was like, yes, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. My husband that day said, go home. It was 3rd week of June, so summer was just starting. He said, go home, take the summer off and figure out what you want to do. Now, mind you, Natasha, at the time we still do have 2 sons, but they're grown and independent. But they were in school and we had a lifestyle. So for my husband to tell me, go home, take the summer off, That's said, that was huge.
Yes.
So it didn't take me a whole summer to figure out what I wanted to do. It took me about 2 weeks of really sitting down and saying, what is it that I want to do? How can I make an impact? And I formed my company, Quantum Quest, which means attaining something big, okay? And I bought a women's health club.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wanted to empower women to take care of themselves first. You know why? because we have competing priorities. We wear multiple hats. And I'm not disrespecting the men, because I'm married 31 years to a wonderful, wonderful guy, okay? I love him to pieces and I'm in love with him. But what I will say is that women, we take care of everybody else. And we tend to, put ourselves last.
It's so interesting. And, as a coach, I work with a lot of women, and it's a very common phenomenon. It's kind of ingrained in the culture.
Yeah.
And maybe there is some biological imperative there, wired in our DNA to take care of, which is, as you say, it's not disrespectful to men or whatever. We play different roles. The only problem is that we haven't been taught to take care of ourselves, and that what we want is important, and it needs for us to be empowered. And I think mostly traditionally, it's take care of everybody else first.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And what happens with that? So we have competing priorities, right? We have those multiple hats. We're last. And what happens? We have internal conflict that stirs up.
Absolutely.
All right. So in my first book, Don't Let It Get You, it's an empowering health and fitness guide for women, but men read it. I mean, it goes into how I was in corporate, then turned entrepreneur, and then wanting to motivate women to take care of themselves. And they don't have to join a fancy gym. I mean, I did own a health club at the time, but there were things that they could do just by reading this book on their own, in their own home.
So I always like people to get a takeaway from my guests.
Yeah.
So let's say, what are 3 simple things that women can do to empower their health and well-being without joining a gym?
Look in the mirror every single morning when you get up. Look in the mirror and say, I am who I am, and it's great to be me.
Fabulous. Okay. And that's your training your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And what we repeat in our minds gets embedded in us. So I love it. Number 2.
Breathing. As you stated before, and I mean, when we were in the green room, you also did your breathing exercises, right?
Yes.
And as we stated before that, I open up every single show, whether it's my TV show, my radio show, I'm on stage, or I'm leading a group of people of maybe 2,000 in an audience. I always start with 3 deep breaths. So it's getting your mind clear, clearing your mind, because we rush a lot.
Yes.
Okay. And so it's just taking those 3 deep breaths when you feel that you are under a lot of pressure. So that's any time during the day.
And the whole thing is about breathing. I mean, there is a connection between mental state and emotional state and our level of breathing. So when we're holding tight, that impacts our biology and physiology. When we're afraid, we hold our breath.
Right.
But most of us aren't breathing in a way that is oxygenating our bodies. And so something as simple as that, again, simple tools. Number 3.
Third, and if you go on my website, www.drxjoy.com, one of the things that pops up is the importance of drinking water. Yeah, so I was on the Dr. Steve show, WPIX Channel 11, a while ago, and I still love that clip. That's why it's still there. And I talk about the importance of drinking water. Most people think that if they only drink 8-ounce glasses a day, that's enough. But do you know that that's not right, right?
Well, I'm going to kind of disagree with you here in one way.
Okay, well, go ahead.
So it's not disagreeing with the facts, but I have interviewed any number of people in the world of health and well-being, and everybody's got a different perspective. So if you do research, some people say, and no doubt, water is important.
That's
the amount of water is kind of, in my mind, up for grabs, because there are certain, again, accredited people who say you're challenging your kidneys if you drink too much.
That is true.
Okay.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
So what I wanted to say is based on your weight, right? Your weight, not your friend's weight, not your sister's weight, not your desired weight, your current weight. And you would take that, whatever that number is, and divide that by 2, and that's the number of ounces that you should consume on a daily basis. Now, Natasha, check this out. If you are in a place that is very hot, you need to increase that.
Right.
If you are exercise, you need to increase that.
I think also,
Okay.
part of empowering people is to have them really get aware of their own bodies.
Absolutely.
Because each one of us functions differently. So it's really like tuning in.
Right.
How does this feel? Does this much water feel better? Am I feeling like it's too much?
Right.
Again, I think it's really important for each of us to individually tune in. And the formula is great as a starting point. But again, you eat something that everybody says is healthy, and you eat it, and it makes you feel kind of,
Yeah.
So it's really check in with your body.
You need to check in with your body. And also, if you eat watermelon is 98% water. So if you're eating a whole watermelon, which I've done on several occasions, that doesn't mean that I'm going to consume half my body weight in ounces,
Yes,
all right? Because I'm
that's good.
eating a watermelon.
Yeah.
Also, when I used to personal train people, I would cap them off at 100 ounces, no matter what their weight was, because you don't want them to fall into an area of water poisoning.
Yes.
All right. So
Who knew?
Who knew, right? But listening to your body is key. So those are the 3 things.
Awesome. So, and I love that. 3 simple things.
That's right.
Life is not necessarily going to dramatically alter, but it can significantly alter. Just those 3 things. Again, tune in, pay attention to your breathing. I have people set alarms, like once every hour. Check into your body. Where are your shoulders? Are they up here?
Oh, yeah.
Stand up. Watch your breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Walk around. Spin around 3 times, click your heels, sit down again, but just tuning ourselves, because we tune our bodies out, and we think we are talking heads, dragging this spacesuit with us, and not paying attention to all of it.
May I give one more?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a home office, all right? And typically, when people think of an office, like if you're in a corporate setting, there's a desk, there's a chair. My recommendation is remove the chair and elevate your desk.
That's a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, I
desks.
stand up the entire time when I'm working at home.
Yeah.
So
and again, if you can't manage that, set an alarm, walk around,
exactly,
stretch, take a few deep breaths.
Yes.
Yeah.
But keep it moving, and you burn calories more by standing.
And this whole thing about wellness and fitness and whatever, I think what people have to get is that in order to not criticize themselves or, beat themselves up every time they, quote, fall off, it's a journey. It's learning. And hopefully it will be you learning to the end of time.
Exactly.
Because, before I came here, I looked on Amazon and I said, weight loss. There are over 50,000 books on weight loss. Yes. Okay?
Yes.
So if the information was in a book, we'd be free, good to go. So it's really not just what's in a book. It's about simple tools. It's about empowering yourself. It's about having other people support you. It's learning bunches of tools and then customizing it for yourself.
Exactly. So your prescription for total wellness goes across the 7 wellness elements. And wellness to me is, and this is my own definition, Natasha, is striking a harmonious balance across the 7 wellness elements. So everyone mostly knows about physical wellness, right?
Yes.
So the Don't Let It Get You talks about physical and nutrition, all right? This one, Blueprint for Success, talks about my business and going from corporate America into entrepreneurship, and then it talks a little bit about the wellness. But this one here, Are we functioning under conflicted knowledge every day? Notice it's a stick figure. It's very simple. The answer is yes. That talks about the mental and emotional component, those 2 components.
Yes.
But in order to strike and say that I am completely living in optimum wellness mode, that means you have achieved a harmonious balance across all 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I interviewed a quantum biologist some time back, and he had this acronym that for our bodies, it was called SQUID, Self-Contained Complete Quantum Devices.
Wow.
Yeah. Self-contained complete quantum devices. It is complete. And everything, including your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, your physical well-being,
environmental,
is
financial.
contained. You know, even your spiritual well-being, even though this body is just kind of host for that.
Exactly.
But it's still your host.
That's right.
You know?
It is.
Yeah. So I think what I'd like to ask you, you know, so you operate at in a lot of different realms and impact people in a lot of different ways, and that's your mission.
That is my mission.
So
to positively impact people.
Yes, because we know very quickly when we negatively impact people.
Oh, we do, Natasha. We sure do.
And you know, I'd like to say something about that, because one of the biggest things that people struggle with, you know, conflicting thoughts, conflicting priorities, is the issue of self-esteem. So underneath all of that is this huge, for each and every one of us, some issue of self-esteem, some issue of not making it, not measuring up, whatever. And it's kind of just there. So it's kind of this whole idea of always, again, inside of this container, noticing what you believe, noticing your thoughts. I heard somebody once say, if you let them, your thoughts will mug you.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Yeah. And so it's really, we keep thinking that our thoughts are something like, that are hard, written in stone, that they're the truth. It's all been learned, it's all been taught, it's all been programmed in us.
Right.
And then we operate as if it's the truth, including our low self-esteem.
Right.
That's why I love your thing in the mirror in the morning. I mean, if you just say that, you're changing your body chemistry. And so the idea is to keep looking at, I tell people, if you're feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling bad, or just ask yourself, what do I believe right now? What are my thoughts about this? And are those thoughts actually the truth, or is it just something I believe?
Right.
Because we don't see what's out there, we see what we already believe.
Right.
And if it's not good, then it's time to dismantle what we believe, including our low self-esteem.
Well, I would say if you're going to ask me the question on how one can increase one's self-esteem, starting with in the morning, I am who I am and it's great to be me. Also, refrain from seeking validation from others.
Yes.
Okay, because a lot of times...
So I'm going to ask you something here, because that's monumental.
Oh, it's huge.
We are ingrained from survival mode. When we are infants, we have to have our parents love us.
Right.
And so we perform in order to get that love on an instinctual basis.
Right.
And so validation is part of our survival. So then the question is, you know, to me, it's, we will always continue seeking validation from others, but it's actually dismantling each one and saying, is this survival mode, or is this who I really am?
Right.
I think it's so grand to say stop seeking, but if you look at every television commercial, I promise you, it's all about getting approval, looking good, buying the right things, saying the right thing.
Social media, the proliferation of social media, I think, and this is just my thinking, that it has made people feel worse about themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's where they can say, oh, I look at this person's, because I've had my clients tell me, I look at this person, their life looks so perfect, and I feel like garbage. And I say to them, notice what you believe in that moment. You believe their story. You believe that you're less than they are.
Right.
Is that belief serving you?
Right.
Do you really actually know?
Right.
I think it's teaching people to discern and to think through instead of just getting activated.
That is true. And then also recognize that social media is there for a reason, right? And that's only a microcosm of someone's life.
Yes. And it's what they want you to believe.
And it's what they want you to believe. Now, I don't know about anybody else. What I put up is truth, right? But if you really want to step into Dr. Joy's shoes, you're going to have to come and hang out with me for a while to see what my life is like. Totally.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
It may be a little hard to answer, but I've watched I've read some of your stuff, and I've watched you. And one of the questions you always ask is, who are you really?
That's right.
So who are you really?
Who am I really?
Yeah.
I am a person that wants to positively impact the people that I see every day. Okay? But if you want to get down even further than that, who am I really? I'm an only child born and raised in a 2-parent household in the Bronx. And I know people are listening and they're like, woohoo, Bronx, New York. Okay, I was bullied as a child. Now I'm talking about some things, my formative years that also, come together as your core beliefs, right? I was told that from some people I wasn't good enough. So internally, I'm going to prove you wrong. All right, so I was a competitive athlete, pretty darn good. One of my records still stands on the college level. So this is me. But I want to do the best I can. I also refrain from comparing myself to others. You know why? Because when you compare yourself to someone else, that robs you of your own happiness. Yeah. That's part of me.
Okay.
We don't have that much time to keep going, Natasha. I mean, we can do this offline with a cup of tea if you want.
No, but I think it's important for people to understand, because you're asking that question a lot.
That's right.
Who are you?
That's right. Who are you really?
Yeah.
In other words, dig down deep and look and see what's causing you conflict. And now try to mitigate that conflict. Does it really need to stay there? How can you resolve it? Those are the questions.
Yeah. And how can you give it up?
How can you give it up? How can you give what up?
Whatever it is that's causing that low self-esteem, or that incident where somebody bullied you and then you made it mean something.
Right.
And then you're still trapped with that feeling and that belief system, as opposed to it was one incident, that person said something, you believed something. Can I shift that belief?
Well, it's called pivoting. That is true. But anything that has happened to me, yes, it happened to me, but then I release it and I tell my story, because there's somebody in the audience or listening to my radio show, or they view the Dr. Joy show, that it resonates with them. So at that point, I've released it.
Yep, that's great.
So it's like, flotsam and jetsam. I got to let it go.
Yeah.
All right. Now, people sometimes are hard to let go, right? Because people sometimes cause the conflict, but you are in control. So you have to make the decision whether you want to continue to deal with that person or don't. Trust me, Natasha, when I was laid off, I thought I had so many friends. My phone rang, 3 different phones: the cell phone, the work phone, and the home phone. Okay? When I sent that email to tell people that I was no longer in this position, phone still rang, but then there were questions like, oh, how are you going to make it? Oh, how you going to, you should take your kids out of the school that they're in, okay? You should sell your, people started to come to me with all of these solutions that they were unsolicited. I never told you that I was asking for your advice. And then after about a week, everything stopped, and then people just fell off. So that caused conflict inside, because it was like, well, am I worthy enough to go and be an entrepreneur, to try to make a huge impact in the world, more so than sitting in corporate America, okay? So I had to figure out what was good for me. And with that, there were a lot of people that fell by the wayside at the time. Since certain things have occurred in my life, they've tried to come back. Some I've let in, some I haven't, because I had to figure out, was it worth it?
Right.
So the question that I have for people, is your conflict? What is your conflict? Who are you really? What is your conflict? Can you get rid of it? Those 3 things.
I like it. So we have 3 minutes left. Like advice, your mission, your message. You've already shared some of it.
Yes.
But is there anything else?
My mission is to positively impact others. And that's, that's pretty broad.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I have a hashtag, increase significance. Whenever I am in contact with people, you just don't know what a smile will do for someone else. I start with that. And then the rest flows. So my advice would say for people, definitely wake up in the morning. I don't care if your hair is on top of your head. I hope you don't have too many bags under your eyes. But the bottom line is look in the mirror and say, I am who I am, and it's great to be me. Say it 3 times. Say it with me, Natasha.
I am who I am,
and it's great to be me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that will jumpstart your day in a positive way.
I believe it, and I think, your vibration changes just with those words.
That's right.
And I think the important piece is you don't have to believe it when you're saying it. You will start to believe it.
You will.
Something will shift. I have a client who, she writes down her mantra that we created together, and for months now, she writes it down 6 times every day, and she says it. And life has altered.
Yeah, that's
her
ingrained.
perception has changed.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the bottom line is you're about empowering people. And I think for me, what I also hear is everybody's got the capacity to thrive and to flourish and to blossom. Take it on. It's an invitation. Take it on.
That's right.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah. Dr. Joy, we're at the end of our time. Can you believe it?
I cannot.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your mission. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for having me, Natasha. It's been a pleasure.
My name is Natasha Sherman. Thank you for joining me.